This is practically a yummy for Andy, I think.
60,000 more, 66 total.
Now Andy says he's in pretty good shape. He's
I'm on
yeah.
All in.
Well, sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand.
This is where I get the big bucks, Jesse. It's
66.
And this is a situation where if Kuzmin decides to call here, Parg, Ireland is going to be in a strong spot.
All in for a further 66,000.
Kuzmin will have to decide whether he wants to
30, 40,
leave
50,
these
60.
chips behind in the pot.
You know, if he does leave them behind, Parg, he's still got a pretty significant chip lead here. And if he calls and loses, then he'll basically have given the flip-flopper to Ireland.
Yep.
Of course, if he calls and wins, it's pretty much match over.
And he hasn't been doing much wrong. You know, the re-raise he made on Andy was pretty standard when you get a couple of top-class players playing at this level. Most players would have made, well, most really good players would probably have made the re-raise with the ace-5. Certainly the way Kuzmin has been playing Andy so far today. And Andy, he didn't think for 2 seconds about throwing this away.
Okay.
Fold.
Kuzmin has decided to call. That's the first good news for Ireland.
Ace 10.
Would have been
And,
better news for Ireland if he passed, actually. Just on a technical point, I think Andy'd have been quite happy to pick up the pot without this pot.
Well, this pot now over 250,000, and it is Andy Black all in. If Russia can pull a 5 out here, well, now there's a 4 as well. 9 would make Andy Black the higher straight. He's going to have to dodge 2 cards here, Parg.
Not a bother on him.
This is a very crucial pot. 6 has changed nothing, although...
Well, it gives more split possibilities. Jesse, a 7 or an 8 will now make for a split pot. It'll be very unlucky for Andy if that happens.
That's the Jones.
Because he set this one up fine. He worked out that Kuzmin had plans for him, and he's acted accordingly. Nice play from Andy Black.
The 10 plays. Andy Black has made a couple of razor edge plays here, and he's had his chips in the middle.
And that might be a razor edge play where you come from, but in Ireland I can assure you it's pretty standard.
And that has made Andy the new chip leader with 264,000. If you add those to Tony Cascarino's chips, all of the sudden, Ireland has got nearly 4/6 of the chips.
Well, I think this might be one of the events that Ireland actually has an incredibly strong chance of winning for the one reason and one reason alone, that our footballer is the best of the poker players, of all the footballers. Tony Cascarino is actually a top-class poker player in his own right. And a lot of other footballers have literally just learnt to play poker in the last few days. So hopefully that'll give us something of an advantage. But in this kind of short format, you know, it's anyone's game.
I don't think Cascarino's taken his eyes off the top prize yet either.
No, I think Ireland have got about 2/3 of the chips. So there's been a big swing here.
Yeah.
Here we go. All in for
Alicia says
16,000.
now is the time, 16, and well, if she doubles up here, she may have a chance to triple up or better.
I think so, because Andy's going to play this pot. He may think his ace is definitely in front. He may be wondering if he just calls this whether Alexander will raise and make a protective raise for his teammate, no matter what he has. We have seen that a couple of times in this tournament so far.
Yeah, we
especially from the Dutch. They'll think that if Andy just limps here, Alex, if he's got any kind of a hand, is likely to come over the top of him, which we're never going to find out now, are we?
Obliged to call with this.
Could have seen Alexander Kuzmin calling there, Parg, and offering some kind of protection anyway.
10,000 more to
I'm going to triple up. If I play, then you play on that triple up.
9-10 against King 10. It is Alicia all in for Russia here, and the 10 is not what she wants to see most.
No, this isn't the kind of a hand she wanted Tony to call her with.
Can't do nothing.
It's a bit unfortunate that her 10 isn't live.
That flop, no good.
Well, the jack,
Yeah, 9 at the moment.
Jack would end it, basically.
it leaves them down to a king last card for the
Yeah.
split pot.
That was not
No.
bad.
Well, that was nearly as good as it gets.
There's a lot of flush draws. There's a bunch of split pots. A queen would make a split
No
right now.
spades.
9 for the win. 10 for the split. Just a couple of things going on. 9 for the win.
Oh my God.
She has hit it. And with 38,000,
Oh,
The new blinds are 10-10.
it's not desperate. Although the blind's up to 10 and 10,000, Parg. That's pretty sturdy right here.
Interestingly, Andy would have, if he'd called with his ace juice, would have won that pot.
Kuzmin would have won as well. We've seen some fascinating situations in this tournament so far. I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff where like it's unclear, even for some world-class players. It's unclear what the proper strategy should be. I mean,
Yeah, and if the world-class players can't work it out, what chance have we got, even if we see all the hands? First of all, you've got to think about it.
Pass.
I'm usually putting to enough puzzles just trying to figure out how many outs people have. I mean, the strategy of the whole thing is way beyond me.
Honesty's about the best thing we
Raise
could go for
20,000
ourselves here.
more, 30 total.
Well, Alicia may just decide to
I'm
call
gonna
this
tell you
part.
that.
She's in terrible shape. But she's not to know that, is she?
All right, take
No.
it then.
Pass.
That was very disappointing.
Certainly was. She'd be delighted if she could see Tony's hand, because that was one of the hands she didn't really want to be coming up against.
Well, the leaderboard showing Andy Black. He's got 264,000, but his presence seems like he's got an even bigger chip lead. Kuzmin is not far out of it, really. And Alicia Kabaj has a bit of work to do. Blinds 10 and 10,000 right now. Alexander Kuzmin proudly wearing that captain's armband on his wrist.
Yeah, that's a new fashion statement in this tournament.
And he's folded the ace-3 part. What would be behind that?
Raise 20,000.
The fact that he can't call a re-raise, perhaps?
28,000 total.
Just had a bad feeling.
I've got no idea.
Well, the raise has come
Well,
from
he-
Tony Cascarino.
He may have thought that his teammate was in there in for 10,000 already in that pot, so
sorry.
that she was going to be committed to calling the other 18,000 before the flop, so we maybe decided to let her sort it out.
Well, the situation right now is Alicia Kabaj has called all in,
Yeah.
and Andy Black has decided to call as well.
Check.
So the good news for Kabaj, she has a chance to triple up. The bad news, she's behind
Check.
to the ace, Parg, and
I'd
needs a
check.
king or a
No,
7
it's
at this
16
stage.
I check, you check.
She'd be
Well,
beating
it's a big pot if she gets out of this. It should be back to having
Check.
Check, check.
She's got the
pretty
best
much
hand.
what she started with.
That's 7. Anything but a deuce, an ace, a queen, a 10.
Check.
That's safe.
And to play hands,
Completely
please.
me.
She's
trebled
6
up.
timed up. I'll tell you, she's tripled up twice now.
Lovely.
And
Thank you, guys.
I think they call it a sextuplet.
Thank you, Republic of Ireland. That was very nice.
But
of you
whatever they
to-
call it, she's really gotten off the ground here.
Everybody who sits down got the equal opportunity to come to the finishing line to become a winner. So what I like about poker, I like the idea that I can be in charge, I can make my decisions, which can lead me to the either winning the tournament or coming somewhere down the line. We do have 3 of a very strong competitors against us, Andy Black and Tony Cascarino. And, I mean, they're very good players. I do hope we will do our best, but it's going to be a tough competition.
Pass.
And Alicia's sitting up in the seat now, isn't she? She's got herself right back into this.
Raise. 26,000 total.
Black